Greetings and welcome to the Dragon Con Urban Fantasy Track discussion of Season 2 of The Magicians. It's been a lot of fun to be re-watching this show, and I don't know about the rest of my wonderful panel, but I've been enjoying it immensely. So I will have each one of these lovely people introduce themselves to you, and we'll get to talking. And first up, Kevin.
Hello, everyone. I am Carol's second, if you will, assistant track director at the Urban Fantasy Track, 20-plus year attendee and speaker at DragonCon, and podcaster covering sci-fi and fantasy TV shows. So I am never short of an opinion. So looking forward to going into season 2.
Rocky.
Hi, Rocky Shields, fan of fantasy and sci-fi and books, TV, movies, and always enjoy the Urban Fantasy Track.
You're one of our longtime faithfuls, so thank you. Marks.
Hey, I'm Marks Pyle. I'm a author, podcaster, occasional filmmaker, and I have an MFA in writing popular fiction, and urban fantasy is like my absolute favorite genre ever since Buffy. and of course, The Magicians is a very dark take on urban fantasy that I've always enjoyed. So I've been enjoying this rewatch.
Great. Margie?
I'm Margie Parsons. I'm an actor and a standardized patient, which, yes, Mom, I am working as an actor. Fan, and I work for the American Sci-Fi Fantasy Track at DragonCon.
Our good friends and colleagues over on that track. Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna Puerta. I am a volunteer on the Urban Fantasy Track at DragonCon, and I have a MFA in film and television. So that's me. I've also been a fan of urban fantasy since Buffy. So.
That's right. And Anna is our director for the Buffy Horror Picture Show at Con. If you have attended that in person, that you can thank her. Now, we also have someone who has joined us again, which, Renita, it's great to have you back. We are so glad to see you. Thank you for coming back to see us again. We appreciate it. All right. And now we get, oh, there she is. Now she's back. Yay!
It kicked me out.
It kicked you. Oh no. And I do want to warn everyone that I had made a comment when I was posting about this putting up the reminder about the panel on yesterday, that as long as weather permitted, if everything all of a sudden disappears, it's probably because something happened here at my house because I'm hosting. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that the weather cooperates. But in the meantime, we will go ahead and get started with the first question. And what I'm curious about, and since we all agreed the characters themselves play such a strong role in this show that it wouldn't be what it is without them, which character's storyline are you most intrigued by at this point in the show, up through this end of this second season? And is that person the same as the one who is your favorite character for this particular, up to this point, this particular time? And Kevin, you get to go first.
Okay. As of the end of season 2, so avoiding spoilers going forward, I would say, right. And especially on the rewatch, I've certainly, I wasn't able to join the season 1 discussion, but just so folks know where I'm coming from real quick. The Magicians is a show, since I watch so many urban fantasy shows and sci-fi type shows, I started to watch in season 1, and after 4 or 5 episodes, I have to admit, I gave up. And came back because I had good friends who said it was worth it. I gave up mainly because I didn't like these people. I mean, I thought, these are not the kind of people I want to spend time with for the most part. So it was a bit of a bumpy first season, but then as I started watching more, it was just like, okay, what's going to happen next? I can't wait to see what they're going to screw up or what's going to happen. So it's very much watching the train wreck happen that makes for the fun. I think on this show, because everything goes wrong, as we know. But back to the question. For me, at this point, at the end of season 2, I'm very fascinated by what's going to happen next with Julia. She has gone through the ringer and has had so much stuff happen that I won't say I can identify with her, but I can just have so much empathy or sympathy maybe for what's going to happen. So I've been really on the rewatch, focusing a little more on her, and really interested in that. As far as overall favorite, I got to say it's such a great ensemble that'll change from story arc to story arc. There's some parts I'm really into, with what's happening in Fillory, and other ones, what's happening with, Breakbills and so forth. So I can't say I can pick one yet. I got to wait for them all to play out.
Okay. Rocky?
For me, Alice, second watch through, I thought the actress that played Julia just did an amazing job in season 2 with what she was given. But for me, Alice, I just thought, especially when she's like kind of haunting Quentin there in the middle episodes, I just thought her acting was fantastic. And then one of my favorite scenes in the season is when he tells her at the end of the season, like, I love you. And she tells him, hey, I need you to go away right now. And just her facial expressions and stuff. I just thought, emotional wise, that actress just nailed Alice. So,
and sometimes her lack of expression.
Yeah.
She's very good at that, getting it across without actually.
Yeah. So I would say Alice was probably my favorite in terms of acting and story.
Okay. Marks.
The show's kind of tough because it's really good ensemble, and it's not like Buffy where you feel like everyone kind of revolves around Buffy. This show, maybe it's supposed to be Quentin, but really they all are pretty equal all the time. And I think this season, just because I love the Fillory stuff so much, I think the character arc of Elliot really worked for me a lot. There's a lot going on there, and everything kind of weaves in and out of that storyline with Ember and everything going on. And then his kind of sort of maturity, trying to be High King. I thought that was really interesting turn for the character, and lots of cool, fun stuff, and the sword fight and all sorts of stuff. So for favorite character, they're all great. Because I think you asked for either if they're the same or not. I think I think maybe Julia this season I like her so much better than last season.
Right.
So, and even when she's bad, like when she burns down that all those trees.
Yeah, the talking trees. Yeah,
I know. It was a cool kind
Not
of
anymore.
Right? So yeah, so that was an interesting journey and how they kind of combined together. So
Okay. Anna.
Well, so last time I said Penny, just to give the recap of previously on Anna's opinion.
Previously on the panel. Yeah.
And I think, I still really liked Penny this season, but I do think his storyline is not the most interesting. I agree. Julia and Elliot, I think, are probably the two most interesting. And then obviously, like Alice, I enjoyed Alice and Quentin's back and forth a lot more this season than last season. Like, I feel like last season it was a lot more like
Forced,
piney. I don't know, like there's just like Quentin's like kind of like pining after her, and she's just like, I don't know. But this season it was a deeper emotion, and I think it was also funny at times because of the Niffin Alice. So I know I just got off on a tangent. I think if I have to choose between Julia and Elliot, it's going to be Elliot. But But I think both of them were really, really interesting this season.
Okay. And Margie.
So I do have different people that are really calling me out this season versus my favorite.
Okay.
Julia is obviously calling everybody out. This is her season. This is, I mean, not to spoil anything further on because she gets more and it's wonderful. But this is her time to shine. And when she kills the forest and it's like, not anymore. There's no talking trees left. The loss of her shade just really, and it explains so much for what happened to Rupert, not Rupert, but Martin, and how he becomes what he becomes. So you see that parallel. But then there were these minor characters that just caught my heart, like Bigby. She was just so much fun in this comic relief that came out of nowhere, and with such a serious theme with the battle magic. But at the same time, she was just this flighty flibberty-gibbet of a character.
Right.
But really, honestly, Penny and Julia have caught my heart this semester, season, in a way that they didn't the first time around.
Oh.
But Elliot will always be my favorite.
You're just letting me. You're letting us know from now until forever that will be the one. Now, Renita says that Elliot was her favorite the whole time, but when season 2 starts, Julia's story was the most interesting. Mm-hmm. So she's kind of on the same page as you are there, Margie, and a couple of you
I think
said Elliot.
Just since I don't think any of us mentioned it, just an honorable mention to Finn. I think
yes.
Oh yeah.
Finn really, takes her place as not queen. What is her title?
Wife, queen consort.
Queen
she
consort,
called
wife of the queen. Wife of the king. I don't know.
Yeah, she called that's what she called herself, but I think. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I can't remember. I guess we'll find out next season that, if she gets a more official title.
Yeah, I can't remember. But I think she is kind of starting to come into her own towards the end of the season. And she'll get, I remember that she gets more interesting next season.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes is her and Elliot, and then the Gollum Elliot and
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and the boy.
Yeah,
the boy. I don't remember that guy's name.
The boy.
Elliot probably doesn't remember his name either.
You mean the one in the dungeon?
No, when they make the Golem and they go back to the
yeah,
cottage.
he hooks up with some guy at a party and is like. His real body is with Finn at the same time.
He's a golem.
Oh, yeah. Javier. Yeah,
Javier.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that was yeah. The way I wrote about that in my notes was kind of interesting. So, Elliot was bad doing this and and Gollum, Elliot was doing anyway.
And she calls herself wife of the High King.
Wife of the High King.
Okay, yeah, that's how she referred to herself in the finale when she showed up and all of that. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. And one of the other things that has always interested me about this show as well, and has become even more evident, I think, this time around, is that the group dynamic has changed quite a bit. People that how they get along with each other, how they or don't, and what. So I'm curious that for you guys, what aspect of that changing dynamic have you enjoyed the most? The different, either the different relationships that have formed, or just how people interact, that kind of thing. And Rocky, it's your turn to go first.
Like one scene with Margot and Quentin when she's putting the crown on him, and he's like, "Are we friends?" And her response, So like their dynamic was much better. I felt like in season 2 because it was just pretty much her and Elliot like meshing together. And I thought I liked Margot. Like first season, Margot's kind of the meanest character, but she has a lot lighter moments in season 2. So her interactions with everybody are probably some of my favorites. Her and Josh near the season's end, some of my favorite interactions. So, but and then of course Elliot and Margot is probably my favorite. Them two, just everything they do together makes the show.
Okay. Marks.
I agree also about Margot. That relationship. Margot's just got the best lines, right? And she can really
She
rock
does.
it.
Yeah.
And she can rock an eye patch too.
Yeah.
So,
Unfortunate that she needs one, but yes, she does.
Yeah. Those fairies. So I think gosh, I was trying to think about that. I mean, they're definitely all got a closer bond now than I did before. I guess Katie and Julia definitely get a lot closer this season. I mean, they were starting to last season, but they definitely get a lot closer once they get back together and get a common goal.
Mm-hmm.
Until it diverges, I guess, at the end. But yeah, I like how they're becoming a little more cohesive and they're working together most of the time a little bit more, and they actually talk to their teachers and get help occasionally. So it's like, these people are all master magicians. They can maybe help you out.
Maybe we should go ask them. Ask them.
Yeah, but because I like the dean and those characters, and that's another thing too. It's a larger cast too, because you're getting Josh now, multiple episodes, even becomes king for a very short period of time, and very memorable scene.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, that's I would say like Margot and just some of those dynamics that are growing and improving was nice to see, and matured the show cast in season 2.
Yeah, and I you mentioned Julia and Katie, and one of my observations about the two of them was how they had, they were both outsiders,
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of, at least in terms of the timeline that we've been following the whole time. I mean, one of the, not the 40th one, but the other 39, they may have been something else, but it's just kind of interesting to see how they bonded in spite of some other things. But
yeah, and then they kind of have opposite endings to their arcs, because Julia is on a high now where she's in a good place, good things are happening, and she's good with her decision, and then Katie's on a low, not happy about the decision, and kind of going back into drugs and kind of getting some bad habits again. So it's interesting.
And even like small interactions like the dean and Marina, I thought that was one of my favorite scenes of the season, and I just felt like the writing gelled so much better in season 2, and like little scenes like that just like hit home, where he's telling her, sorry, can't stay here.
Yeah. Sorry about that, but yeah. Well, I could talk for a long time about Dean Fogg, but anyway, Anna.
So the original question was just like about the dynamics between the characters.
Yeah, the group dynamic, I think, has changed. It's shifted somewhat in this season. I'm just wondering what part about it most appeals to you.
Yeah. I think there's like a few moments this season that stood out. I think the dynamic between Julia and Martin at the beginning of the season.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was like, I mean, anytime that they were on screen together, I was either like laughing or like on the edge of my seat, it was like electric, I think, between them. And I thought it was really good. And then obviously the show tunes, it was like fun, but like terrifying at the same time.
Right.
So I definitely enjoyed that. Another newcomer ish the librarian and like the library like work dynamics. Like it's almost like the Office kind of, like, you know what I mean? Like it's very dry, but then it's also a magical library, and you're gonna, anyways. So I think there's like a lot of kind of new fun dynamics there as well. And I think, I mean, I love all of their time in Fillory. So like with all of the like Fillorian politics.
Oh yeah,
I think a lot of that, like how that plays through their new roles as kings and queens, is really interesting.
And the Foo Fighters.
In the Foo Fighters.
Oh God. I had forgotten that, and when they said that, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is too funny!" I loved that.
Yeah.
Margie.
And then Margot calls it like Dave Grohl wannabes or what?
Yeah, the Dave Grohl wannabes.
Yeah.
Margie, go ahead.
For me, it was the blossoming of the Elliot Alice relationship, and it waxes and wanes from here forward. But that solidifying of there's a connection between the two of them that they can't really deny. And when he apologizes to her for their drunken / emotional rebound night, as he crowns her, that just,
that was a good moment. Yeah,
that was so touching and so incredible, and it kind of hints at what's to come for them when she gets deniphanized and moves forward. But also the beginning of the relationship with Fen. I mean, Fen is just this marvelous little thing that we're going to get to unwrap in pieces. And I've followed Brittany Curran throughout the filming on social media, and it was really fun to see both sides of the coin.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah.
But I'm much more invested in her because I know what to look for. And so it's interesting how much the rewatch is informing my enjoyment of the season.
Oh, well, good. Well, I'm glad nobody here has said, "Hey, I decided I hate this show. I'm not doing your panel anymore." Kevin?
It's been mentioned a little bit, but for me, it was the Julia and Katie times together. I think Mark's made a good point that, at different points in the season, each of them is up or down or whatever, but they're always finding ways to get stuff done, shall we say, when it comes to things that need doing. The two of them are the ones I'd lean on the most if I needed something done, because they find ways there. But I also find it's very interesting for me, as we all know from watching shows, especially ones that get to have several seasons, you can enjoy watching a relationship between two characters either evolve as they get closer or devolve sometimes as they go apart. But with Julia and Katie, it's all over the map on any given episode. So that's what's fascinating, is to watch where they're at, and are they even talking to each other? Are they trying to kill each other or whatever? So that's been most fascinating in season 2 for me.
One of my wife's biggest laughs was when Julia says, "I made you a sandwich," and then I ate it.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah. And so Renita's comment about Margot, she's definitely the queen of sass. Yes, indeed. I think we could all agree with that. Now, Margot and Elliot, and as the rulers of Fillory, why does it work so well? How did what's your take on this? How did this become something that feels so right and that we can get behind the way we can? And Marks, it's your turn to go first.
Maybe because I think when you think of this like in Narnia, when they become royalty and such, you think of this great, like fairy tale ending or whatever, and instead they get this whole flip flop of like, now you got to deal with all this government accounting, we're out of money, and you got to do this and negotiate and all this really responsible stuff or tough stuff. And it's interesting with Elliot and Margot because they're probably the least responsible of all of them, really, when you first start. They're the partiers and stuff. Like you would think of Q because he's just loves filigree so much. You would see him be able to do that, or at least want to do that, or someone more responsible like Alice or something. But those two are the ones you get.
You would not be your choice on paper, in other words.
Yeah. So they have to learn, make mistakes, and grow from that, and actually end up wanting that and actually caring about filigree and stuff. So I think that's really interesting arc for them for this season. Like a lot really happened this season in 13 episodes. So they went through a lot. So
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And it's like it's like you get whiplash sometimes in just one episode. It's like, oh, what now?
I had forgotten how fast and how much is introduced in this season.
Mhm.
And it's just like, wait a minute, I thought that happened later. It's like, no. It's all here in season 2.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming. Anna,
I
what's your theory?
I kind of disagree with Mark's a little bit, and I think that they were really already kind of like the boss bitch kind of like. I mean, I really think that they were. I mean, for the Physical Kids house, right? They were running that. They were running the show. They were doing really well in all of their classes. I mean, as far as magic goes, they're both really accomplished. I think that they just have like an attitude and an air about them of like not giving a fuck. So it's kind of, sorry, I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
It's fine.
Have you watched the show? No.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you're
If anyone is watching the show. But like they have that air, but they actually do care a lot.
right,
And they are also take care of like, I mean, they took a bunch of little freshmen under their wings, last season when they first came in. So I think they kind of are just natural leaders, and whether or not anybody else realized it made sense for it to be them.
Well, and Renita has a very similar point to what you were saying, that they were already the king and queen of great girls and partners. Becoming high king and queen was the next logical step, and that is true. I mean, that is a good point, but it's definitely a different sort of. I was going to say job, but yeah,
he's still going to put time and effort into making champagne and filigree.
Right. And it has to be just right. Yeah.
They're highly functional partiers, drunks.
Yes, they're highly functional, and they're also gonna, teach Fillorians about compost.
Yeah.
That's right.
The look on the farmer guy whenever he delivers the bag.
manures.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do with this? No, really? What am I?
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Royal
exactly.
dung.
Margie, what's your take?
Well, this season is a coming back together for them because they were kind of estranged at the end of season 1 because Elliot had a love interest who turned out to be not who he thought he was. But there was a lot of jealousy between the two of them and a lot of unsaid conflict that caused them to be pulled apart. And then as he crowns her for the first time and says that he always knew who she was from the moment he met her, that just really spoke volumes to me. And that was the beginning of the return of Margot and Elliot as a couple, as the power my word is not, I'm not wording properly, but as the soulmates that they
Right.
truly are. And we'll see that kind of energy between them that we were rooting for to happen again.
Right. Okay. Kevin.
Yeah, I think for them, a couple of thoughts come to mind for me. One, as folks have pointed out, they were leadership of the party gang, certainly at Breakbills. And now it's just thrust upon them in Fillory. And I think I like very much that they each get to be a leader, but in their own way and in separate ways. So they're
Right.
not similar in their style. And that allows, I think, each of them to do their best and also learn by watching how the other one handles that situation. So they're
And they
very
need
good.
each other.
Yeah. They don't both react the same way. They react differently. They see the other person do it. They might yell at them for it. And then they realize, that actually was a good way to do it. So I think they're both growing quite a bit in this new environment.
Okay. And
I had one thing.
sure.
I thought it was really interesting to see how Elliot took care of Fillory and the physical being of Fillory, and Margot takes care of the politics of Fillory,
Mm-hmm.
and the division of power coming back to the same. Let's care for it, but they each have different approaches that unite.
Yeah. And then this is what Renita was saying, that Elliot brings the charisma and Margot brings the scheming. Needed to be a successful ruling pair. So there is something something to that. And she also, or there's someone else here who says soulmates is such a good and interesting choice of label here because it feels so right, but we so rarely remember that term doesn't have to be romantic.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Because their relationship is certainly, completely different than that, for sure. All right, Rocky, what you got for us?
Just like some of the different dynamics, like when he's like, "Oh, let's make a statue of Alice," and she's like, "No, let's be practical." Was one of my favorite scenes. And then I feel like the council kind of would have run roughshod over Elliot, but so many times she'd be like, "Get the heck out of here!"
Right. She tells him to leave. Yeah.
Yeah, and even like the monkey creatures, like you see him pushing them out, and so I felt like each dynamic, and like she was like, heck no, when he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna marry the king to like make this work," and in that moment he's the one that's level-headed, and she's the one that's like thinking with her emotions. So different scenes throughout the season, they complement each other in terms of their temperament, and it works very well throughout the whole season. Sorry. And one of my favorite scenes is when she's first going back to the real world, and the conversation she has, which she's like, "I'll always come back," and he's like, "Oh, but I don't know how long." I thought that was very emotional and touching between the two of them.
Right. It can be touching. Anna, you had a comment?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, thinking about sort of Elliot coming into his role as the king, a high king. He, when he gets banished, there was like sort of like a moment where you're like, he did create a golem so he could leave Fillory. Like, is he just gonna stay banished? Does he want to go back? But he really took being king like seriously, and getting back wasn't just about helping his friends and saving magic. It was also about Fillory, because he really, really does care about Fillory. And sort of in his like little quest to get back at the end there, that really shows. Where like as last season, he was kind of like making fun of Quentin all the time about being
Right.
obsessed with Hillary and
Yeah.
like very flippant about it. But yeah, he really comes to love it.
Yeah, well, when he and Quentin go to see Umber, and
Mhm.
when they don't know it's Umber, of course, at first, but
Right.
they figure it out. But when Umber says, "Well, you love Hillary," he's kind of surprised by it, and Elliot says, "It's my home," and there was no question about that. I mean, that was just that was his feeling. Now, one of the things that has always appealed to me about this show is that and that I find so interesting is how it can blend the ridiculous or the fanciful, if you want to call it that, and sometimes both at the same time. Most things of which take place in Fillory. I mean, like a sloth on the council. Okay, whatever. But I mean, you can have things like that, and blended with the realism or the more traditional kind of high stakes situations that they encounter on Earth. And to me, I find that they do it very well. But I'm wondering, how do you guys feel about it? Do you think that they effectively blend those two aspects into the narrative itself? And Anna, you get to go first this time.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they do a really good job of the absurd and the serious. I mean, even when we were talking about like, burning down the talking trees, like there's so many things, the rats, I think the bunny that like talks, there's so many random chaotic things that happen. But there is this like balance that makes it all feel grounded somehow.
Okay.
It's insane, but it's like this, we got to deal with it. We have to deal with this ridiculous thing in front of us, I think they do a good job.
Yeah. Okay. Margie. Oh, we can't hear you. You're muted.
I totally agree that they do this amazing blend, and it kind of. I once asked Lee Aronson about Ehrenberg about how do you do dialogue that's just so preposterous, and he said you just buy in, you just leap and you go, and that's what I see these characters doing. They just go, and it doesn't matter how crazy it is, it doesn't matter how wild it is. They just bought in, and that lets us buy in. And the first time the rabbit says "eat my behind," it doesn't faze you. You laugh because it's absolutely hilarious, but it's totally in keeping with the world. And that's one of the things that I have loved about this series is it didn't matter how crazy they went, and Sarah Gamble can be absolutely out in orbit around another sun.
Yeah.
But you buy it because these actors and these characters just live in that world.
Yeah. Okay. Kevin?
I think a great example for me of how, as we're all starting to say, it works is that we got our first musical number this season.
Mm-hmm.
Without being spoilery, that's why I say it was the first.
That's right. That's right.
But again, as Margie was saying, you just buy in. You're like, yeah, that fit that scene perfectly. So this is the world I'm in, and a little bit like real life sometimes. Not everything is serious and not everything is comical. It's a balance, and they find it, and it works. That's the important part. Why? I don't know, but it does.
Okay. It works for you, so there you go. Rocky?
Like one scene that comes to mind is Penny wanting Quentin to cut his hands off. And
Oh,
he's like,
oh,
I can't feel anything. And, and then of course the screaming, but, so that's a scene that, it's serious, but very comical. I'd say, I can't remember her name. Marina,
the Hedge Witch Queen.
the Hedge Witch. Yeah.
That is Marina.
Yeah,
that is-
when Marina when she comes back to Julia after leaving the first time, and her response like, "Oh," she's like, "I'm here to help you," and she's very humorous in her return to Julia, even though she just came back and saw a dead hedge witch, with her guts out, but then the scene where she's returning to Julia, she's using humor. And then of course the Beast singing constantly to the annoyance of Julia is pretty hilarious.
Yeah. And it's also people like to sometimes make fun of show tunes, but we got to admit they do a pretty good job of making them downright creepy when it's because of the association with him. So
and then Ember, anytime he showed up, I always thought he was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, pretty far out there.
Yeah. Especially when he spoils the wellspring. In the comedic humor, like the Beast, like his reaction to the smell. Even though he's the big bad in the very beginning of the season, they've got humor between the two of them in that scene. So there's quite a few examples, and that's my favorite part of the show is the balance between the seriousness and the humor.
Yeah, if it went too far down one road and didn't cross over to the other, it would be hard to take.
And this is a show in season 2 that got pretty dark. I mean, Julia's getting rid of her pregnancy, I thought was probably the darkest thing about the season. But and it's still, like I said, even in that episode, they do the humor and then the seriousness very well.
Okay. Marks?
Yeah, I mean, the show takes big narrative risks, like music and the tone. It's one of the things I love about Buffy is the tonal swings, shifts it can do. I think Buffy's probably done the best of them all, but other shows that come close, like this one, I really like that. Helps alleviate the darkness a little bit. So, because I would say, like in season 1, this depends on the person. I know, like when I first viewed it, I was kind of like, and this is partly building up trust, the audience with the creator too. I wasn't sure what I was getting, and like at the end of the season, I wasn't sure about season 2, and my wife dropped off after that. But then I came back and was like, oh, okay, this is getting, I see what you're doing here and stuff. And then my wife's been watching this rewatch from the beginning again, because she never would watch it again after that. And she's enjoyed these 2 seasons. So that's good. So,
right.
Because even though they're dark, there's sensitivity to what's happening and it's not taken lightly. Plus, to be a little more closer to what your original question was, I think why Filler works so well is so bizarre and it's dark, but it's also just so comedic, and it's something we haven't really seen this type of adult portal fantasy on television before. That it's so you just don't know what's going to happen, and
right.
They've just done this great blend of all of it.
Yeah, and to your point, there's as I made reference to the sloth who's on the
love the sloth.
Yeah, and then you've got that, and then you've also got the time when Princess comes back looking for his dad, and tells his attendants that he has with him, okay, do it, and they just immediately cut off the heads of most of the rest of the people that are there, and so Josh is all splattered with blood. And I mean, we don't actually see heads roll, but I mean, still, it's like it can be that extreme of a difference, even on Fillery, and it's kind of interesting how they play with that. Now, one of our viewers here has an interesting point, and I want to get your takes on this. I have other questions too, but this seems to fit in here at this particular moment in time. That it's when she made it's supposed to be, it's more obvious with some characters and more subtle for others, but choice and being deprived of choice is such a theme of this season. And I thought that was an interesting point, and I wanted to get you guys' take on that. So thank you, Relka. We appreciate that. Do you? I mean, you don't have to elaborate to a great extent, but I mean, do you feel that was a theme of the season? Anybody? You can just hop in.
Oh, definitely.
When
definitely.
Julia takes Alice's shade instead of hers.
Right.
I mean, that's, I guess, a good example.
Yeah, I think it touches a little bit on what Supernatural did with gods manipulating humans. And I think when you find out, like, oh, well, these two gods created Fillory and they're about ready to just wipe it out and they don't care. They're just playthings. And Renard and his mother, humans are secondary basically in their minds in a lot of ways. Even maybe the good god, even a little bit,
right.
their own child. Yeah. And then, of course, the books in the library write her fate. So I thought that was really interesting that they touched on that, which Supernatural would touch on again. Too.
Right. Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder. It's like, okay, Sarah Gamble, Supernatural, The Magician, Library, The Order. It's like I got to go back and compare some dates. But anyway, Could
you imagine Dean and the Winchester brothers and Fillory? I would love that.
That would be a crossover we would all pay to see, probably. Yeah, that would.
Full disclosure, Raikaiko is actually my daughter,
my
adult daughter, who is almost 30 and came to the Magicians later in the process, and then went back and rewatched. So I think it's really interesting what she has to say, in that I think that when you look at Fen, especially this season, she is given no choices and has to react and has to respond and has to rise above the circumstances that she is handed. And that happens to a lot of the characters this season too. They pay the consequences of their actions this season. In a large part, everyone is facing the repercussions of what the choices that they have made. But poor Fen is facing the repercussions of the choices that people made for her.
Right.
And I think most of all, if we're looking at a character to whom that applies, it's definitely Fen.
I think, I agree that Fen is a great example. I think Julia is also a really strong example. I mean, besides just the not being able to choose to be pregnant or not, there's also when she's trying to make choices and is stopped at every single turn. It seems even up until the end of in the final episodes, when she is going after Reynard, and that choice is kind of not taken from her, I guess, but Our Lady Underground definitely influences
right
that last decision. But yeah, I guess the most obvious taking of choice is when she's trying to get the abortion and the doctor stabs herself instead.
Oh yeah, that was awful. Yeah,
I forgot about that until I saw it again.
Yeah, same here. That was true with a lot of scenes, though. Or there were a lot of things. I mean, for God's sake, I'd forgotten Josh was a werewolf. I mean, it's that bad that I had forgotten that. But and then when they, in that scene with him and with Quentin, when they had caged him because Penny had told everybody, he's got somebody else in there with him. Anyway, and I was like, how did I forget that? Anyway, I digress.
But also making lycanthropy a sexually transmitted disease was just a masterstroke.
So
right. Well, we'll find that out later, but yeah, that we found that was. But I agree with you. That was definitely a different take on it.
I like a King Josh moment.
Yeah, he enjoyed his.
He really did.
15 minutes of. Well, I guess in Fillory time is different, so
you don't know.
And he had the thought to destroy the chair. He's like, "Oh, if these are cursed, I'll just get rid of them."
Get rid of them.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It definitely makes sense. Why are you just leaving them up there for me to accidentally sit on?
Yeah. Well, apparently nobody else was going to bother. So now, were there any particular standout scenes? A few of you have mentioned a few things, or exchanges between characters or situations for you this season, things that just really resonated with you. And Margie, you get to go first.
I think one of the things that stood out to me, the interaction with the white lady. You can't do that. I'm sorry.
Right.
Can't do this. I'm sorry.
It's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Can't do. And then to resolve it with sending him back to New York without magic. I just went. It just kind of like, wait a minute. This kind of like this traumatic amputation. And he has to learn to live again in a world that he didn't fit into in the first place. And that to me was just like, along with Word is Bond, where you get into the shadings of each and every word and each and every intention behind what you say, and how that is important to magic and to life in general.
Okay. Kevin.
I really enjoyed that the whole duel situation that Elliot had to do.
Yeah.
Complete with the musical lead in.
Yeah.
And the other king running into the forest, and he's like, can he do that? He's a king, he can do what he wants. And then chasing him down and everything else that went with that as magic went on the fritz and he ran up the tree. I mean, that's so much The Magicians to me, that whole scene.
Okay, well, that's a good one. That was fun. And yeah, when the guy took off, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
You can do that? You can't do that. Yeah, I did.
I mean, because our reaction was the same as Elliot's. It's like, what? It didn't seem to, but it was perfect. Rocky?
Dean Fogg will never make my top 5 favorite characters list, but he had 2 of my favorite scenes in the season. The one on the couch with the pixie, it was just so.
Oh yeah.
Like out of nowhere, and their chemistry, that actress and him were just perfect. And then the scene where he's talking to Elliot after Elliot comes back and tells him, hey, you need to grow up, and your thesis needs to be on how to rule a kingdom. I thought that scene was just perfectly well acted. So and then the whole episode where they have the fight with the other king, who's a Buffy alum from season 4 of Buffy. That was probably my favorite episode of the season. And that whole fight was just perfectly choreographed and acted.
So and that scene, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Those were probably my favorites.
Well, the scene you're talking about between Fogg and Elliot, one of the lines part of that exchange that I particularly enjoyed was when Elliot's asking him for advice, is why he's there in the first place, right? He says, well, I don't know how to be a king. And Fogg says, well, I don't know how to teach one either. I mean, and it was like, okay. And, he's the adult in the room, kind of thing. But anyway, I thought that was amusing and very Foggish. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marks, what about you?
I don't know. I'm having trouble thinking of one scene. specifically. I just like a lot of the scenes. There's a lot of character moments, of course, but
or some kind of an exchange or a particular situation or something like that.
But definitely every time the White Lady was mentioned, every time they introduce a new supernatural character and they broaden the world, I'm never displeased. So like whether it's the White Lady, which is a very memorable design, which pops up a lot in their promo work, artwork and stuff. The dragon they meet, the ancient one, that was great. Even the Hexen Paxen, right? I think I said it right.
Hexen Paxen, yeah.
It's such a interesting creature and how it works, and I think just a lot of those are always very memorable to me as they broaden that world, because they always have a really interesting spin on these type of creatures. So, and usually, naughty ones too, because like the centaur, what they mentioned about centaurs.
Yeah. They're definitely they do lean into the whole mythological thing with them.
Yeah. Oh, and the underworld scenes, the bowling alley, those are interesting. I always like see what people take the underworld and the whole shade aspect. So
okay, Anna.
I just keep thinking about the pocket world that
Cuba.
Yeah.
That was funny. It already is. Yes.
There's already a Cuba.
He's like the pocket world formerly known as Cuba.
Yeah. But that exchange, I can't remember if it's Ember or Umber. Which one's which? Umber.
Yeah.
Umber.
Yeah.
Umber and it's Quentin, right? That are talking about critiquing his design of the world.
Oh yeah.
And that whole conversation, and just it also kind of ties back to what we were talking about before with the balance of this absurd and the serious. It's really like Ember and Umber, and that they work better together, because that pocket world was very boring. It was very, very boring.
Yeah. And you can see when he's asking him, if he says, okay, be blunt, or be I forget how he put it, what the word was that he used, but then Quentin's comment was, it's very linear. It's like, yeah, it really is. And not to mention the place where they were meeting. Oh, that was odd. But now, Margie, I did get you with this one, right? You were first, right?
I think so.
Yes. Okay. So now we've worked our way to our discussion of the finale. Now, last month we talked about how the end of season 1 was such a cliffhanger that we were all deciding that we needed to go watch it. We had to make ourselves not watch it before the panel discussion, so we didn't give away anything, but we wanted to all watch it pretty soon thereafter, so that just because we were like, okay, we've got to get these resolutions here. And how many of you watched it within a few days of the panel? I know I did, because I was like, okay. But in any case, we didn't get the same type of cliffhanger that we got in season 1, because the season 1 cliffhanger kind of dealt with, all of the people, or the main characters that we were trying to find out what was going to happen to. They were all in that last scene of season 1. But for this one, we get, separate scenes of what's going on with some of the different characters. They're all doing something different. And of course, the big thing being that, yes, in fact, there is a little bit of magic around. There must be, if Julia can still do it. So that's our very last scene. But in terms of the season finale itself, did it work for you? Did it feel to you as though it, maybe closed a few holes and then of course opened up some more? And Kevin, you're first.
I would say, for like many shows, your first season finale, you kind of want to shock people and make them
Right.
excited to want to come back. And you often don't know if your show's coming back. So, you really want to throw, shall we say, all the spaghetti against the wall, which they did a great job of. I mean, everybody was in jeopardy. So that was that kind of a finale. This one was more, to me, like the thinking viewers finale. You now know this world. You've got a lot more characters, a lot more serious stuff there. We're going to drop a few different, shall we say, smaller bombs at you and start thinking about, oh goodness, what did they do by killing the gods? Oh my goodness, the fairies are all surrounding the castle,
Right.
and as we said, all these other things. So I thought it was you don't need to shock me. You got me on board as a viewer. And now, between seasons, I'm going to have to go, how are they going to get out of that situation or this problem? Rather than everybody in peril, we're going to need a big reset or a big fix. So I enjoyed it that way. Like, oh goodness, everybody's got their own problem to deal with. The characters are strong enough that we don't need them all in one room to keep our story going.
Okay, well, that's a good way of looking at it. Okay. Rocky?
That, and I like the scene with the dean still teaching, and that's a few months later after
Yeah,
they
2 months later. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 months later. So I thought that was a good way to kind of see the world jump ahead and not leave us like hanging what happens after the plumber turns the magic off. So I thought they did pretty good with that scene. And then, but the scene before, like with Alice telling Quentin that, they had parents, and I just thought that she delivered that scene very well, delivered it home. And the fact that the guy just kind of could walk in and to the classroom and, literally pull a switch to.
Right. Yeah. He's a literal electrician or plumber or whatever
Yeah.
they call him, the plumber. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was nice for them to show someone doing something to turn the magic off. But probably the thing most excited for is to see the conclusion of what the elves are going to do around the castle. So in terms of what season 3 brings.
Okay. Marks?
Yeah, I agree with Kevin. It's a different kind of ending. It's not like they're all gonna. Some of them might be dead. Who knows? We'll find out. And it's more of like they're all in trouble in some different ways. Magic's in trouble. And they got to get magic back. Otherwise, they got to learn card tricks, and that's going to be the whole show. They're going to be doing like pick a card.
It'll be it. Yeah.
Distract the bad guys.
It'll be now the card trick magician.
Because we're the magicians. We don't have real magic. We have card tricks. But I am, curious. I mean, I'm not completely curious because I remember season 3 a little bit, but I remember it very well. I am curious to, of course, what's going to happen with the fairies. That's a big thing, and what's going to happen with magic, of course, and I one of the things I like about a lot is they've introduced a lot of concepts like who are the parents, how does this hierarchy work with the gods, how you can get magic back, all that good stuff, and I'm always curious to see that really cool world building too. So it's a world building cliffhanger in a way, and they do all have little issues going on, which is shown how that, similar to what Kevin said, how that ensemble cast has grown into a lot of stories. There's no like one character they're that's the lead. They're all got their own stuff going on.
Right. That's a good way to put it. They all got their own stuff going on. Anna?
Yeah, I think for me it was this is intriguing. Like, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do, but not like a scary cliffhanger. I think my biggest, excitement was around the world building, like Marx was talking about, like that the parents,
Old
there's a
yeah.
plumber. What's this
Yeah.
new? What is all these new elements to this world, and what are they going to do with them? So
Yeah, we know there's going to be trouble.
yeah.
That's the one. That's the only thing we know for sure.
Don't even ask about the TV cable guy. God.
That's right. Everybody's got to watch really carefully when somebody comes in. Margie?
You know, there was so much in the finale of the season that just kind of stays in the season, like the Candy Witch.
Oh yeah. We haven't got
It's
it.
like, what did she ever do with the vial of blood? There's the finale for me wasn't the same kind of cliffhanger that season 1 was. And I think if in terms of season finales, this one of all of them missed the mark for me.
Oh,
I just wanted more wrap up on at least one thing. At least one thing tied up. And instead I felt like everything was in chaos. Except for, of course, Ember and Ember.
right.
And I just felt like it was, the season had been so strong, and I felt like the finale was not as strong as the season was. That was just my take on it.
Okay. Well, one thing that I should have asked about in the question was when at the very beginning of the episode, we've got that voiceover from Ember, who's giving us a story about, well, this is what I did, and I had forgotten the whole part about that. It was the name was really supposed to be Filigree, but he was drunk and and it came out as filler anyway. Stuff like that. But I thought that voiceover kind of review of what had happened during the season was interesting, and it kind of, it was kind of a way to explain a few things. It's like sort of like, okay, in case you missed it, or in case you didn't quite understand what was going on at this point in time. That was kind of an interesting way to approach it. And did you guys get a kick out of that? I mean, of that whole voiceover thing, or did it, since it was different?
I had forgotten it, quite honestly, until I
Yeah.
saw it again. I had completely forgotten. There's so much that I honestly thought came later in this season. And then when I watched it the second time, I went, oh, wow, that was really early.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing I'm glad of. I don't know. When you guys are doing your rewatches, am I the only one who has the DVDs? Does everybody else watching it streaming somewhere?
Yeah.
I don't even know where
I have
it's
the DVDs.
Yeah, so do I, because I got them all, and I'm very glad. But because when I watched it, when it was first on, when the show aired, I watched it and recorded it from the Sci-Fi Channel. But then once the DVDs came out, I had those. So, some of these things I have not seen since they were first on, and most of the episodes I've only seen the one time, and thankfully the show was not as long ago as some. Although if you're talking about like some of the shows that were on longer ago, I've seen them so many times that of course I remember. But in any case, I digress. I'm just saying there are a lot of things that I had forgotten, that watching it again, it's like, wow.
And it's so much so fast. I mean, because we get Marlee Matlin, We get
Yeah.
We get all of these amazing characters, and Keenan Connor Tracy, and all of these characters. And my brain is not working with me in terms of the woman from House, who
And
plays.
Dudek, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This season is so rich, and it's just so hard because it all is compressed into 13 episodes.
Well, with streaming nowadays, that's like a ton of episodes compared to
Yes, because now it's 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anybody else? So I watched it on streaming. Did anybody else experience, at least in season 1, like a lot of censor? Like they censored, of course, the curse words out, and then also I was watching subtitles at times because of maybe background noise, whatever, and I realized that they would say something on the words, but I actually say it, in audio. And I was like, what? Like just sentences, like random sentences, and they're like, like they muttered themselves or whatever, and they didn't actually. I was like, why did they remove that? I don't know what's going on here. So,
well, I would guess, I'd have to look it up, that they moved them from the 9 o'clock slot to 10 o'clock, and you can get away with more F-bombs at 10 o'clock.
Well, and I think the last season or two, they were actually on at 11. And that's when they really let them all fly.
Oh, really? Wow.
I mean, when I was watching it, while it was on. But yeah, you're right. They were in the beginning. Now, what is it streaming on right now?
Prime.
Amazon Prime.
I've got the DVDs.
Okay.
Oh,
And
I also wanted to mention
one
real
of the
quick.
things. Sorry, Marks.
I wanted to mention one thing. I thought you were going to say, Carol, because after Margie's talked about the Candy Witch, and then you went into the intro. I thought it was really interesting. Like he actually mentions the Candy Witch in that thing. He goes in. That'll come up later.
Yeah, you'll see that again later. And so we think that maybe we're going to find out something, and we don't. So, yeah. But I've really enjoyed watching this over again because of the fact that I'm saying, or even though I know how it winds up, and yes, the finale was only in 2020, and I can remember a lot from the last season. There are so many details in this show, so much nuance that there are things that you can forget. If you it started 10 years ago, so it's like there are a lot of things that we've all watched in between, right? So
again, there's just so much. We get Brittany, we get Megania, we get Harvey.
Yeah.
And Harvey's such a waste of talent here. And it's just, there's just so much in season 2 that gets lost, I think. And it's so rich, and not lost. It just adds to the richness. And season 2 is like, hey, you thought we were cool the first time around? Just take a look. And the King of Loria, that whole chemistry, and I just hated that it disappeared. It was just so rich and incredible and lush. This season was lush.
Well, and you could tell that they had a bigger budget. I thought that a lot of the magic spells were improved, and of course, all of Fillory was gorgeous. So they really did well with their bigger budget that they had, and of course, all the guest stars. So
now this, Rakaiko says that the subtitles, there's a lot of making choices about what deaf people can handle across media, and it's not great. Yeah, that sounds like, censorship nobody asked for, right? But in any case, I hope you guys are enjoying it. It sounds as though everybody's enjoying doing their rewatch. And for those of you viewers of these panels, we have been restraining ourselves from not bringing up things, because even if you don't remember every detail, you can remember certain things that happen. So we have been not mentioning spoilers on purpose, because all of us have seen it. before, but it's just been a while. So we I appreciate all of you being here to discuss it. Thank you so very much. We appreciate especially our two lovely folks who interacted with us tonight. We appreciate everyone who watches this, and whether you've been watching now or you watch later. And we will be back with season 3 at the end of March. So we stay tuned to our Facebook page for that information. I've been a little slower getting started on author interviews this particular year, but I will be. Some of those will be coming up in March, April, May. So stay tuned to the Facebook page, for those as well. And Renita, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for being here. But everyone, thank you. You're a wonderful panel as always. Thanks to all our viewers, and we will see folks again in March. We'll say goodbye. Bye, all.
Carol.
Bye.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.